Rebecca thought she had protected her mother, kept her secrets hidden, and shielded her from the cruel truth about her sister Margaret. But when Margaret's betrayal comes to light, Rebecca is left with a heartbroken choice: expose the truth and risk everything, or protect the memory of the woman who raised them both. One letter will change everything, and the devastating consequences are about to unfold. Rebecca's inner struggles, and the tension with Margaret. Rebecca's life has always been weighed down by the unhealthy dynamic between her and her sister Margaret. Despite her own budding career and personal ambitions, Rebecca has always been the caretaker, nurturing their mother as she grew frailer. The emotional toll of playing the role of both daughter and caregiver, all while Margaret seemingly lives a carefree life, is taking its toll. Every time Rebecca tries to confront Margaret about her neglectful behavior, Margaret spins the narrative to make Rebecca feel as though she's the one at fault. The story begins with Rebecca on the verge of breakdown, overworked and exhausted. But there's an underlying tension that sets the stage for the eventual reveal of Margaret's true colors. Rebecca's frustration with Margaret's treatment of their mother is growing, and something is about to give. Hints are dropped about Margaret's extravagant spending, money that should have gone toward their mother's care. Rebecca starts to piece things together but is uncertain, questioning her own judgment. The revelation of Margaret's betrayal. Rebecca can no longer ignore the signs. Margaret's extravagant trips, purchases, and constant desire for more money now start to feel like a betrayal. Late one night, Rebecca stumbles upon bank statements that reveal her mother's savings have been drained. Anger surges through Rebecca as she realizes that Margaret has been siphoning funds from their mother's accounts for years, leaving their family's financial security hanging by a thread. Rebecca confronts Margaret, but the conversation devolves into emotional manipulation. Margaret, ever the expert at turning things around, accuses Rebecca of being too controlling, reminding her of how overbearing she's been throughout their mother's illness. As Rebecca tries to maintain her composure, Margaret's cold, dismissive attitude eats away at her. The argument ends without resolution, leaving Rebecca with the gut-wrenching feeling that Margaret is using their mother's vulnerability for personal gain. The confrontation leaves a sense of unease. Rebecca now knows the truth. But what will she do with it? She's stuck between exposing her sister's betrayal or protecting her family's reputation. Rebecca's moment of weakness. And the devastating news, feeling emotionally and mentally drained, Rebecca takes a rare break, going to a yoga class to clear her mind. She is hoping for a moment of peace, but the brief respite is shattered when she returns home to find a voicemail. "Your mother, she's gone." Her world crumbles. This moment of grief is compounded by guilt. Had she failed to see her mother's deteriorating health? Had she been so caught up in fighting with Margaret that she couldn't see how much time was slipping away? The weight of her mother's passing sends Rebecca into a downward spiral. She's torn between confronting Margaret one last time and respecting her mother's wishes for peace. The news is devastating, but a deeper layer of suspense looms as Rebecca's inner conflict grows. What will Margaret do next? Can Rebecca keep it together during the funeral? The truth of Margaret's betrayal feels dangerously close to being exposed. Margaret's show, Rebecca's grief. The funeral is more of a spectacle than a time for mourning. Margaret arrives with her partner, George, making a grand entrance, completely indifferent to the gravity of the occasion. Margaret plays the role of grieving daughter, but Rebecca can see through the charade. The way Margaret subtly twists her words, making herself the center of attention, infuriates Rebecca. The tension at the funeral escalates as relatives and family friends whisper about Rebecca's role in caring for her mother, questioning if she's been too controlling. Margaret feeds into the narrative, painting Rebecca as a cold and calculating figure. Rebecca feels isolated and betrayed by her sister's manipulation. In the midst of it all, Rebecca wonders if she'll ever be able to expose Margaret's lies and take control of the situation. Rebecca begins to question her ability to confront Margaret. The emotional toll of her grief is amplified by the societal and familial pressure Margaret has placed on her. The truth unveiled. The priest opens a letter that their mother wrote just before her passing. It is read aloud, revealing everything. Rebecca had suspected Margaret's manipulative behavior, her selfishness, and her financial scheming are all laid bare. The shock of hearing their mother's voice again is bittersweet, but it provides Rebecca with the validation she desperately needed. The letter also includes a deep emotional plea for Rebecca to protect her family's honor and legacy. Rebecca is overwhelmed with conflicting emotions: relief that her mother knew the truth, but pain that her sister had done irreparable damage to their family. The letter becomes both a weapon and a source of healing for Rebecca. With it, she now has the power to expose Margaret for the person she truly is. The letter is a turning point. But what will Rebecca do with this newfound truth? The emotional weight of it is almost too much to bear, and the suspense builds as Rebecca considers her next move. Margaret's last stand. Margaret tries to dismiss the letter, even accusing their mother of being senile in her final days. The tension between the two sisters reaches a boiling point. Margaret is no longer playing the role of the grieving sister. Her anger is palpable as she lashes out at Rebecca, calling her weak and incapable of managing their mother's estate. The confrontation becomes intense, both verbally and emotionally. Rebecca, however, no longer feels the need to protect Margaret or her lies. She stands her ground, confronting Margaret with undeniable evidence and a steady resolve. Margaret's facade begins to crack, and her desperation is evident. But she continues to twist the truth, playing on Rebecca's guilt in one final attempt to control the narrative. The suspense heightens as Rebecca's patience runs thin. She has everything. She needs to expose Margaret, but the stakes are now higher than ever. Can she get the truth out before it's too late? The aftermath of the confrontation leaves Rebecca with mixed emotions. The truth is out, but the damage is done. Margaret's reputation is ruined, and her manipulations have been exposed. But for Rebecca, the real healing is just beginning. Rebecca comes to terms with her mother's passing and the revelation that her mother always knew the truth. Despite everything, her mother chose to protect Rebecca from the pain of knowing what Margaret had done. With the letter as her guide, Rebecca moves forward, knowing she has the strength to rebuild her life. The final closure brings peace, but the journey is one of profound emotional depth. Rebecca may have won the battle, but the scars left by her sister's betrayal will take time to heal. However, the light at the end of the tunnel offers hope for her future.